more.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, for brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at koppelcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with approved credit.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it's time for a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options in warranty, features, comfort, and efficiency while maximizing savings. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111, or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everett. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Insanity. That is what the college football world has become. That is what it is. So much to the degree that, everything happened with Sharon Moore last night. News is breaking. Insanity is happening. People are asking me questions. You know what my response was? I'll get to it. Because there's, not that it's not a big story. It's Michigan's head coach, one of the biggest brands, all-time winningest program. The way things go down, $30 million, inappropriate relationship with the staffer, these things that are alleged, and then he's detained on alleged assault and all these things, and you hear about, potential pregnancy and actions that may or may not have happened afterwards. We got to be careful because you live in a day and age of rumor and innuendo. Things can be passed along as fact, and then you find out 48 hours later, had you just been a little bit more patient, you should have used the word alleged. But here's what we do know. He has been fired for cause, all right, for an inappropriate relationship with the staffer. And this is not something that is new. This is something that if you're a Michigan insider or someone a little bit in the know on the national college football, level, this is something that's really kind of been on people's radar since before they came to Lincoln. Did you know that? Like, we're going back to October with this.
I saw that. Yeah, there was, like you said, on the radar would be a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Think about how long ago it was they came to Lincoln. Some people think they may already kind of have their coach in mind. They wanted to wait till after signing day for obvious reasons. Now, if I'm a guy who's signed, how do I feel about that? It seems, due to some reports, they may have a pretty good idea who their next head coach is. The only thing that may delay it, potentially, maybe they don't. Maybe Michigan isn't quite the job everyone thinks it is. It is. But maybe they have a harder time getting a coach. I mean, not everybody's able to turn around and hire a coach incredibly quickly. Penn State, 54 days. Some people have a better plan when they let a coach go. You look around at other schools that have been able to hire coaches quicker, Vatech, LSU, despite all the drama, just to name a couple. So we'll see what happens with the Michigan job itself. It kind of seems like Michigan knew. Maybe they were waiting. Maybe they were going to let him go either way. Then new information comes to light recently. I mean, he just hired some coaches of his own. So it's a possibility that they were like, we did well enough on the field, but more details emerged, and some of those details seem to be, allegedly, rather deep. I'll put it that way. Rather deep. So they move on, fire Sharon Moore. This is stuff we do know. Just cause, inappropriate relationship, all that stuff. Leaving $30 million plus on the table. It's interesting because you hear about things all the time where, this CEO or this head coach and, maybe this or that happened. And not everyone's always that faithful to their significant other. $30 million, Jake. How much would you have to like somebody to cheat on? And I'm not even going to talk about your wife specifically. It's just in general. To cheat on your significant other with somebody else to possibly lose $30 million. How much would you have to like this other person to cheat with them? There's more moral topics that go into this. Let's keep it superficial, okay? Yeah. Superficial. It's all about the money in this hypothetical scenario that I've created for you. How much would you have to like them? My goodness.
They better be the one. You'd hope you already found the one. But, that and with that stake being the Michigan head coach, the opportunity of a lifetime there for him. So, everybody makes mistakes and all the thoughts along that line. But, man, this is one it's going to be hard for him to live down.
I will say this. I always felt like Sharon Moore is a good football coach. Everything that happened with Harbaugh, you lose your first-round quarterback. McCarthy, you lose your best running back. You lose your top 6, not just top 5, top 6 offensive linemen. You lose your top 5 tacklers off your defense. And what'd you do a year ago on the football field? We didn't get as many wins as you would like, but you beat Ohio State again at that point in time. And then you curb stomp Alabama in the bowl game when you had the players sitting out and players injured, not the mighty SEC Alabama Roll Tide team. Then you come into this year, 9 wins. Dude, if they beat Ohio State, I think they're in the playoff, by the way.
Yeah.
They did not come close to beating Ohio State this year. But like going into that game, it was like you beat Ohio State. You're in the playoff at 10-2 as Michigan, having just beaten Ohio State. 1 game away from the playoff. That one of the 2 youngest teams in the Big Ten. I thought Nebraska was the youngest, and Michigan fans come at me when I say that. Oh, it's Michigan. Well, I'm not going to sit down and write down everybody's freaking age. One of the 2 youngest teams in the Big Ten. Nebraska's still younger. 2 freshman quarterback. Bright future. And so I can't help but wonder if Michigan knew all this. Not all this, but knew enough. And details came out the past couple days. I listened to a Michigan insider, like more details came out. They moved swiftly, but they've kind of had their guy in mind, knowing they may move on from Sharon Moore. Since day one, he always felt like is it a stopgap coach? Is that the correct? Like he never felt permanent to me the way they treated him. Just never felt like they were all in on Sharon Moore, like he was the guy.
Well, he was sitting out games, as we know, against Nebraska. Yeah. So it's hard to feel like the full-time coach when you're missing a couple games every year.
Yeah, so it's an interesting situation. Text us in your thoughts on the text line. This is the major news coming out of college football. I think partially because it's Michigan. I think partially because of the circumstances surrounding it. But getting back to last night, I'm the Jet Award Foundation. They're doing some fundraising for the Jet Award and in Omaha. Oh, what was the name? Hold on, let me look at this real quick. Because the place where we were at was incredibly cool. Certified Transmission, the guy who owns it, Peter Fink. He owns 173 cars.
Oh, wow.
Can't fit them all in this. It's called a museum for a reason. I tried to video them all. Nicest guy ever, too. I chatted with him afterwards. He was nice enough to talk in front of everybody. Also, like, loves planes. Some guy asked him about planes, and he goes, oh, this dude knows me better than most. 173 cars. I mean, these are cars you buy at a car auction. Like, you're bidding.
Mm.
A lot of money.
Nice cars.
Yes.
Nice cars, yes.
So I'm like calculating how many zeros this all adds up to in my head, trying to estimate what the average car is worth. And then this news breaks. And my reaction was, I'll get to it. Why? Number one, I'd never been in a place like that before. I'm not even that big of a car guy, and I could appreciate it. So I tried to record it all. So honestly, the wrong Carriker was there. My dad loves watching car auctions on TV. My son would love this, but I'm the one that's there. I'll drive a car, whatever, no big deal. It's never been my interest. It was always sports, workout. That was me. My dad has an engineering, I'm a carpentry degree, and it's not engineering. I'm thinking of the wrong word, but he has both of those degrees, and he would try to teach me how you fix this and how you build that. And I was like, Dad, can I go lift? Dad, there's a game on. And my dad's a big football fan, Nebraska fan especially. I was like that was just where my interest was. The wrong Carriker was there. My point is, even so, I was enamored. And then you look on the wall, there's like guitars signed by Elvis and Jimi Hendrix and Van Halen and Motley Crue. I mean, just Guns N' Roses, just. Yes. Huge Husker fan after talking to Peter. And then I get the news about Sherrod Moore. I'm like, I'll get to it. So part of me is like, how calloused am I that I was going to get to that news? But part of me was also like, it was a unique situation. Still, though, I don't know. Nothing surprises me anymore. I could wake up with my head sewn to the carpet tomorrow morning, and I'm getting that wrong. I wouldn't be more surprised if I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet tomorrow morning. You get that reference? I think I completely screwed it up. National Lampoon's Vacation, but
okay. We
just watched the movie. But nothing surprises me anymore. This is what I'm going to make it. I could wake up with my head sewn to the carpet tomorrow morning, and I wouldn't be surprised. I'd be like, all right, I'll get to it. Because the world is just so crazy. The news cycle never ends. It's nonstop. It's just craziness. But let us know your thoughts on this situation. All right, the whole Michigan head coach, whatever. I'm just going to call it a situation, whatever you want to call it. Let us know your thoughts. Text in. What's that number there, Jake?
402-464-5685.
All right.
And it's like 4 scandals in the last 3 years at Michigan. So the surprise factor, you're right. Not necessarily, especially when you consider Michigan State scandals as well.
Yep.
A lot of scandals going up there in that state.
There's just like nothing surprises me. Like just the world in general, college football specifically. With Michigan, it's like, oh, no scandals in 48 hours. I feel like you should start a countdown meter. We've had 48 hours with no scandals. I don't know if that's good or bad. It just is what it is. All right. We got a lot to discuss today. Nebraska basketball. 10-0 for real. Ranked for the first time since 2018. Curb stops, mollywops, and whoops sideways Wisconsin. Rink Mast is back, and he's for real. The offense looks really good. I remember at the end of last basketball season. Oh, by the way, the headline of the show is who's Nebraska next defensive line coach going to be. We're going to get to that topic as well. Basically, there's a gigantic bidding war between Nebraska, Penn State, and LSU. I saw a thing on YouTube, Penn State and LSU bidding war for Elijah Robinson. I was like, I'm highly offended. Where's Nebraska in this? We're not even mentioned. So lots to get to. Nebraska basketball's offense, going back to the end of last season, they were losing a lot of guys. The end of the season didn't go so well. Then the Crown tournament happens. And you and I are kind of like, man, what are they going to look like next year? They got lots of holes in this roster. We just aren't going to talk about them for a while. And then they brought in this transfer and that transfer and this transfer. And then you get guys back and Rink Mast. You get all these guys coming back who were here before. And all of a sudden, you and I were like, whoa, we're like excited for Nebraska. This is like, March and April last year. Or it was April and May. It was after March was over. All the tournaments were over. You're like, we're like excited for Nebraska basketball next year. And I remember talking about Amy Williams, the women's basketball team. I'm like, on paper, this is the best team she will have ever had. And they're undefeated so far as well. I forget what the updated. I can actually look at it real quick because we are an all sports school. See if I can find the updated graphic. Oh, they're 9-0. Men's basketball is 9-0. Women are 10-0. Volleyball 31-0. 32-0. So that is What is that math there, Jake? 51-0 combined?
Well, Nebraska basketball men's is now 10-0 too. So
Yeah, see, that's what I said earlier. False graphic, fake news. 52-0 combined.
there you go.
Tied for the second best start in program history, Nebraska women's basketball under Amy Williams. Third best start in program history, and obviously Nebraska volleyball is undefeated, headed to the Sweet 16, playing Kansas on Friday night. We did have one undefeated season in the past, so we could do it again. I don't believe Penn State. Have they done it twice in volleyball? You can look that up real quick. They'd be the only other school. They had quite the run under their former head coach. Obviously just won the national title this past year, so not too shabby still. You look at all Husker sports, where they're trending, how they're doing. Plenty to talk about, plenty of things to be optimistic about. For me, as a all sports fan in general, like I grew up watching college football, the NFL, the MLB, the NBA, college basketball. I always wonder why college baseball wasn't on TV more until the College World Series, but I get it. People go to the pros a little bit sooner. They tend to go to the pros sooner. But those were it's exciting to me when you look ahead to January. You got the transfer portal to talk about in football this year in January. But beyond that, man, we're going to have legit basketball teams to talk about. Now, how good are they going to be as the season unfolds? A lot of teams have a hot start, then they cool off. Who can sustain it? There will be ups and downs. That's going to be natural and normal. When you have the up, how do you handle success? When you have the down, how quickly can you rebound? That's a natural, normal part of playing in a big-time conference like the Big Ten, the SEC. I'm still getting used to the SEC being good in basketball, by the way. For me growing up, it was always just Kentucky. Nolan Richardson had 2 years at Arkansas. Now it's Alabama's good at basketball. Auburn's good at basketball. The Big Ten and SEC are just kind of taking over earth when it comes to sports. And Texas Tech. It's all those and then Texas Tech. So there's lots to look forward to, lots to talk about. How many clips? Because I've been sending you clips and then news would break. I'm like, let's push it to Tuesday. Let's push it to Thursday. How many clips do we have now?
I think we've got at least 3.
3? That's it? I just thought it was more.
I can do a further search back.
Yeah, do a further search back real quick. Pick one. Randomly play whatever you'd like. We've got everything from Mike Leach bashing the college football playoff because it's still relevant to this day. We've got Matt Rule. We have the big booster, the billionaire donor at Texas Tech on how they built Texas Tech to what it is now. So you pick one. I'm going to shout out Suizo Construction, and then we'll chat about that in about 1 minute here. All right. First of all, I want to give a shout out to Suizo Construction, pardon me. They're a proud partner of this fine program, and they're also proud to partner with TMCO, a longstanding Lincoln, Nebraska manufacturing company. For the upcoming holiday diaper drive taking place December 19th, TMCO has been a staple in the community for decades, known for its commitment to innovation, quality fabrication, and support of local families. Together, we're excited to support an initiative that directly benefits those in need across our community. The holiday diaper drive will collect diapers, pull-ups, and wipes of any size to support 3 family-centered and nonprofit organizations, TMCO Prep Academy, the Nebraska Diaper Bank, and Forward, F-O-R-W-A-R-D. Community members are encouraged to drop off donations at any of these locations. You got right here, the Ticket Studios, 93.7 The Ticket, 1040 O Street, Suite 100, Lincoln, Nebraska. Suizo Construction itself, which is 3700 South Street, Suite 8, Lincoln, Nebraska. You got Pine Lake Self-Storage and White Elm Brewery as well. All right, what are we talking about next?
Well, if you give me a chance to play some Mike Leach, I'll play some Mike.
Let's do some Mike Leach.
I think hurts it is the mind-numbingly short-sighted notion that 4 teams for a playoff, somehow establishes something, and that's a very clever approach. I mean, that's such a brilliant approach. That's why everybody does it that way. Nobody does it that way. I mean, if we were so smart, wouldn't all the other sports say, I know what, let's have a committee, because why not? Because, we're American. We love committees. Let's get us a committee. Well, who should be on the committee? Well, I don't know. This guy's a good guy. Let's have him on the committee. Well, there's people on the committee that don't even have remote associations with football, nor have they at any level other than being a fan. But you know what? Let's have them on a committee. Why not? And then, it'd be fun. We'd go to that resort. We could talk. We could hang out at dinner. And then we'll decide which 4 teams should go. Because you know why? We don't need to solve this on the field because we're the ones that know. And then, so, I mean, if we're going to do it that way, we should just ask them at the beginning of the season, just go ahead and you guys vote on it, figure out 1, 2, 3, and 4, and why even have the games? To me, I mean, it's not a playoff. There's nothing playoff about it. And this is even if we make it. Even if we make it, my thoughts don't change. I mean, how can you call it a playoff when there's 4 teams? Conference champions don't even necessarily make the playoffs because you know why? Because the committee knew better.
First of all, I came across that, and I like Mike Leach. The one thing I do disagree, I don't give a crap how anybody else decides their champion. I'm not one of those guys. We got to be like everyone else. That's the one part in there I've never been a fan of. Oh, well, let's do what everybody else is doing because everybody else must be right. I've always liked college football's uniqueness, the regular season mattering more. Every game's a playoff game. If you remember those old commercials back in the day. But I enjoyed his thoughts on the committee. That's what I enjoyed. So as we know, Troy Dannon's on the committee. Mike Riley. Did you know Mike Riley's on the committee?
I did not know that.
Mike, I remember Jeff Long is back on the committee. It's interesting because I look at these guys' credentials, and some of them have been coaches. All right. Some of them have some direct ties. Mark D'Antonio, I'll be honest with you. I've always had an issue with Mark D'Antonio because he was the head coach of Michigan State when we played them in the Alamo Bowl. And that is the most classless team I've ever played in my entire life.
Really?
That was the team that tried to start fights at team functions. They tried to start fights with us at the hotel. They walked by our locker room to go onto the Alamo Dome turf field for warmups. They stuck their head in our locker room and were yelling at us, trying to start fights with us. And he was standing right there the whole time, never had an issue with it. So I've always not been a fan of Mark D'Antonio ever since then. Despite how good of a coach he may or may not be, may or may not have been, that's just classless in my opinion. But you look at some of the other individuals, some of them have direct coaching background. Some of them have direct, I would say, qualifications that make sense. Some of them, maybe not. All right. One of them was like a former CEO of a company. I'm like, huh? Are we running a company? Or are we putting together a college football playoff? You go through them, and I think for me, you need a bigger pool of people because one person can have too much of an impact. The less amount of people you have, an outlier can become more the norm. The less variables you have within a decision-making process. So the more variables you have, an outlier just becomes an outlier. And instead of all of a sudden now one person becomes 2, becomes 3, now you've got 50% of your people thinking one thing because you don't have a whole lot of people on the other side. But if you'd have had a bigger pool, it never would have spread to this kind of unique, some of these unique decisions that have been happening over the years in the college football playoff. So that's always been one of my thoughts. With the college football playoff itself, I think I mentioned it the other day. I don't think the amount of teams is wrong. I don't hate the idea of going to 14 and the Big Ten SEC champ getting a bye. That way those championship games mean more. And although, Ohio State, Indiana with over 18 million viewers? That's the most to ever watch a conference championship game in history? It certainly wasn't talked about like an as big a deal as I thought it should have been going into. It was talked about, but it wasn't. You turn on the ESPN, all you see is the SEC championship game, and I wonder why. For me, I guess what I'm getting at is how teams get in, how you decide who gets in, rather than the amount of teams, I think matters more. I would like to take it out of the hands of people's opinions, and let's play it on the field. Like we tried the computers, the BCS system. People hated it. Now people are like, let's go back to the BCS. I'm like, how short is your memory? Like people hated the BCS when it was going on. Have you just forgotten or are you 12? Like what is going on here? Were you just not alive during this time? And now people are like, oh, let's put it in the hands of people's opinions. My way of phrasing it, not their direct way of phrasing it. But let's let people figure it out. Now people figure it out. Now you got issues with that. All along it was like, let's settle it on the field. Let's settle it on the field. That's why not many of the playoff proposals that have been put out there have I been a fan of. The one where you have play-in games, which would lead you to 14 teams with the Big Ten SEC champ or the 1 and 2 seed getting a bye. and then 3 plays 14, and so on down the line. 2 plays, or 4 plays 13, etc. And then Jake's like, well, it's really a 2014 playoff. And I was like, well, that's a good point. But at least the teams that are getting in, you're doing something to get in on the field rather than opinions or technology deciding it for you. And so that's always been my favorite format. Mostly I just wanted to hear Mike Leach bag on the college football playoff committee one more time. I've heard that like 12 times, and I want to hear it a 13th. All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I do want to mention this before we get out of here for this commercial break. Not get out of here for the show, but for this commercial break. Nebraska had 44 basketball, had 44 points in the paint, and was shooting 76% from three-point range in the same freaking game. Think about that. Let's see what else we got here. They're a fun team to watch. They've actually jumped up in the NET rankings. Let me see. They jumped up 9 spots. Is that correct? They jumped up to number 14. I forget where they were before. Yeah, 9 spots, 23 to 14 in the NET rankings. And one of the things that had you and me excited was you're like, they got length and they can shoot. Now, we were like, we have no idea if they're going to be able to defend with the people they're bringing in. They're defending enough right now.
Oh, yeah.
But they can score. They've got length and they can shoot. And that's what got us excited. All right, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is your year to win way more than bragging rights. At Warhorse Casino, your love of the game could earn you serious cash. The Pro Football Frenzy is free to play with cash prizes all season long, like up to $1,000 weekly, with your chance at $1 million, all while earning tier points and comp points every time you place a sports bet. Only at Warhorse Casino. Wagers may only be placed on Nebraska-based teams when played outside the state of Nebraska. Must be 21 or older to gamble. Gambling problem? Call 1-833-BET-OVER.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
The holidays are here, and there's every reason to make Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina part of your plans. Are you heading to a Nebraska basketball game? Stop at Tipsy Tina's before or after for delicious tacos. Meeting friends for drinks for an ugly sweater get-together? Enjoy Tipsy Tina's variety of margaritas. And if you're not sure about what to get for a gift this year, Tipsy Tina's gift cards are always a great idea. Don't forget about the event space at Salt next door to Tipsy Tina's, all of them located in the Haymarket at 8th and Q.
Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it's time for a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options. Options in warranty, features, comfort, and efficiency while maximizing savings. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111, or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, for brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Hey, honey, can you help me out with some holiday wrapping?
On it. I'm rocking ugly sweaters like a runway king. Jingle bells bling while the sleigh bells ring. Cookies in the oven, smell so divine. Gingerbread beats while I'm dropping this rhyme.
Not that kind of wrap. I need you to wrap these Nebraska Lottery Merry Money Holiday Scratch tickets. They make great gifts.
Got it. Holiday Scratch. There ain't no match because they're fast, fun, and easy, making shopping just breezy.
Never mind.
Top prize odds vary by game.
Looking to upgrade your equipment and keep cash in your pocket? Through December at Landmark Implement, choose from a 12-month waiver on model year 2023 through 2025 John Deere 6 through 9 series tractors, sprayers, and combines. Or lock in a 2.9% fixed rate for 36 months, followed by 6.35% for another 36 months. Visit your local Landmark Implement for more details or check us out at landmarkimp.com and experience the Landmark difference.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
Imagine starting your day with a computer glitch that leaves you feeling stuck, frustrated, and unable to get your work done. You have 1,000,001 things to get done today, and waiting for the tech issue to solve itself isn't one of them. It's time to let Hamilton handle the tech so you don't have to. We help businesses across the state spend more time on what they do best and less time frustrated with office technology. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we're focused on providing custom solutions that set you up for success now and in the future. Connect with us today at HamiltonIsBusiness.com.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have a correction. Jake, I got it wrong. Who was the Michigan State coach when we played him in the Alamo Bowl?
John L. Smith.
Does he not look like him though?
Mark
kind
Antonio?
of.
Yeah, somewhat. I just want to make sure you don't continue to have this hate for Mark Antonio, that poor man out there.
So someone texted on the text line. Hey, I've always said if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. Hey, nobody bats 1,000 except Bud Crawford. So they're like, no, he didn't get there until 2006. John L. Smith was the head coach of Michigan State, which they're correct. But they kind of look a little bit alike, don't you think?
Yeah, they do look good.
Basically, I saw like the guy that reminded me of Michigan State, and I went black. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, screw this guy, man. All right. My apologies. Thank you for correcting me. All right. We've got, what did you say, 3 clips left?
Three
or was it
clips,
4?
yeah.
All right. Surprise me. Play one.
All right, let's start with Matt Rule.
Again, I'm so sorry, but you guys know I'm not going to talk about any player's future. Like, I'm just not.
Oh, pause. So it's been a while since I said. So half the time they like sit in our text messages for like 4 days, and as soon as they start to play, I remember what they are. Asked about Dylan Raiola's future and not commenting on players' future. So go ahead. You probably heard this, but play it real quick.
That's their job, right? That's each player's job. If they're, they have to announce their own things, because I would never want to misspeak. But yeah, I talked to the whole team about Donnie, and certainly to Dylan. I mean, that's his uncle. He loves him, right? So I certainly talked to him, but I talked to all the O-linemen. I talked to all the guys. I mean, Donnie was loved by a lot of guys. And so, at the end of the day, I don't like firing people. I don't like affecting their families. I don't like moving on from people. But I do have to do what I think is right for the program. And so I certainly talked to Dylan, and I certainly talked to all the O-linemen. I talked to talked to the team. In terms of people's futures, I think that's up to each person, right? Like Emmett came and saw me and told me, hey, this is what I'm going to do. And I told him how proud I was of him, but like, that's his announcement to make, not mine.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Has he not hinted at other players' future in the past in press conferences, or at least like a couple of guys like kind of spoke on their future a little bit and what plans may or may not be?
I mean,
the answer is yes.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought that was interesting. The other thing was 2 other things. I'm just going to go with one other thing. I got to do what's best for the program. You ever notice how we'll say things on this show and then similar things are said at the podium? Whether it's usually by rule. You think you think he listens, takes notes right before he does his podcast every week? Like, this is how it's no.
I think he does take notes. Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, his podcast just came out today. I started to listen to it. My former teammate Daniel Bullocks is going to be on. I haven't heard that part yet, but they believe they fixed the college football playoff. Rule and his other co-host, whose name escapes me at this moment in time. But I don't watch it every week. I'm not on top of it every week. But when you say you fix the college football playoff, you've got my attention. So I'm part of the way into that. Basically, he's a fan of the play-in games is what I've surmised so far. And then I, had to come to work in here. So I'll finish the rest later. It's interesting with Dylan, which was the other reason I wanted to talk about that. So there were two things. I've heard so many contrasting things. So it's why I don't talk about it a lot, because I don't know what to believe. If sometimes I'm like, if you just connect dots, it's obvious. Well, Dayton's decommitted, Donovan's fired. Okay, Dylan's probably gone. And then you have people who come out and they're like, no, Rule and Raiola have never been more on the same page. And then you got people who are like, no, there's potential conversations and shopping around going on, just like last year in the offseason. And then there's a big market for him. Then you have some people say, well, he's not, if that's happening, it's happening. He's not getting exactly what he thought he would get, and he's not going to get a better situation than here. So it's all over the map. So what is your opinion and speculation? Because I want to be clear before we get to these other two clips in the end of this segment. What is your opinion and speculation so far in the Dylan Raiola situation?
Well, like you said, if you read the tea leaves, look at the other Raiola's leaving. I mean, that can lead you one direction. But as I understand it, again, as Matt Rule has said, he's been around the team, all that sort of stuff. I think that he's doing what every player probably should. I shouldn't say every player, but just about every player is going to probably be interested to see if there's a bigger deal or a better situation out there. That's not, this isn't college football of 10 years ago, unfortunately. That's kind of a new reality. So I think he, among everybody else, or the majority of everybody else, is probably fielding a phone call or two or making a phone call or two to see what his options are. And again, I would encourage every athlete probably to do that at this point, how the structure's been set up.
All right, let's go on. We got a Dan Lanning clip. We got a James. We got a bunch of clips as I scroll back through our text. Now, this is like last Friday. It's like a week ago. So instead of playing the James Franklin clip, it's his introductory press conference at Virginia Tech, which I found entertaining. Like, before a reporter would ask him a question, he would vehemently go, hi, how are you? He'd say, hi, John, how are you? He'd make them answer the question of how are you? Because one reporter would try to ask the question. He'd be like, hi, John, how are you? He would just keep asking. Like, he was asserting power immediately. Like, I'm setting this tone with you people. You're going to talk about us, but you better recognize who's in charge. That's what was happening. But he also talked about you have to be able, and I thought it was interesting, being a Nebraska guy, you have to be able to coach what you have, not try to fit what you have to what you want to do as a coach. And I thought that was very interesting. That was basically the diatribe of the clip that we would have played of him. Dan Lanning. And we can play the clip, but I'll just tell you what it said. He did an interview about a week ago, and he said he was the GA that would do all the jobs nobody else wanted. He's like, how do I stand out? All right, I'll be the one to go get donut, the big man, the coach's donut and coffee in the morning. I'll be the one to clean up the trash that everybody leaves in the meeting rooms because, sometimes players are messy and coaches. And he's like, I'll do all the dirty jobs, and that helped him stand out. And then he was the one who would then coaches would be like, all right, you want to ask me some questions? I'll actually take the time to talk to you. Because a lot of people want to talk to him, but if you don't stand out to them, they're not going to let you just sit there and pick their brain when they're trying to work. And then he would learn a lot of football, and then he started to climb up the ladder, and then the coaches started to recognize him. And then all of a sudden, he's getting hired as a position coach. Then he's at Bama. Now he's at Oregon. And he said it started from doing the jobs that nobody else wanted to do, the ones that people overlooked, the ones that people looked down on. Because we have so many clips, I just gave you a paraphrasation of that. But I want to get to the Texas Tech, because I thought this was interesting. Texas Tech just won the Big 12 and is sitting number 4 in the college football playoff. Here's their billionaire investor walking you through the blueprint of how they built Texas Tech quickly into what it is now.
So everything started changing in like the summer of 2021. It became a place where there were no rules. You could kind of do whatever you wanted to do. And so what we identified was that there was this gap period, and for a period of time, we were going to be able to pay NIL with basically no rules. And so we essentially decided to take advantage of that little window. Several boosters and donors who were interested in supporting, and we said, look, guys, this is our, one big opportunity that we're going to have to lean in on this, and maybe the best one we ever have. We can get as much money front loaded as possible And then we can also utilize promises of revenue share in addition to that. And so we can go out and acquire as much talent as we want. And so from there, basically went to Coach McGuire and his staff and said, look, guys, here's the opportunity. Here's what we think we need to do. You guys basically tell us what it's going to cost, and we're going to backstop it. And so that's what we executed on. We brought in an analytics consultant to help with that. And then we just use old-fashioned coach evaluations of film. And then when the portal opened, I was just shocked, like at every position of need, because we hit it so fast and so aggressive. We were able to communicate exactly what the players are getting and exactly when they're going to get it to all their families and to them. We were able to actually get commitments from every one of our top prospects in each position, like within just a few days of the portal opening. Now, it also meant we were going to spend a lot more money than I really anticipated on spending initially, but we were here for it. And again, thought it was a sort of a generational opportunity for us.
So if you just listen to it topically, what you hear is they spend a lot of money. Now, if you actually look at it, the teams that spent the most amount of money in the country this year were Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Georgia, A&M, Michigan, Alabama, Florida, Clemson, and Texas Tech's at number 10. So it's not like they didn't spend a lot of money. But sometimes I get the feeling from people like they think they just dropped. I mean, he even mentioned it was more money than we thought it was going to be, and we were ready to spend a lot of money. But it's like they think they just outspent Earth, and that is not what happened. They spent a lot of money. What I took away was we had a process, we had a plan, we moved swiftly, we moved quickly, we had evaluations. As soon as guys were available, bam, we were hitting them up. We knew exactly who we wanted. We knew exactly how much we were going to be willing to pay them. And because they had a plan, because they clearly evaluated appropriately, you can get the number one guy per your evaluations, and he might not even be a top 10 player at his position because you evaluated poorly. What I took away was, first of all, Rule has said we have money. He has said that. All right. So we may not have the most money on earth, but Texas Tech didn't spend the most money on earth. We have a lot. They spent a lot. Okay. I'm not saying we got to be Texas Tech. What I am saying is what works. I am always looking around. How do we do this show better? How do I do this better? How do I become a better dad? How do I become a better husband? Who's doing something better than I am that I can learn from? So I look at Tech, a school that nobody thinks should be a top 4 team in the country, not perennially, not in that conversation, yet here they are. Probably tomorrow, we're going to do our college football playoff pick'em. I still don't know who I'm going to pick over them in Georgia. Like, I haven't seen the bracket. I don't even know if they'd match up in the national title game. But coming into it, I'm like, Tech and Georgia, those are my top 2. And then Ohio State and Indiana, probably 3 and 4. Now, maybe Tech and Georgia will play before the national championship. Print some brackets tomorrow, and we'll fill them out live on air. How's that sound?
Yeah, so Tech and Georgia would meet in the title game if that's...
They would.
They're on the opposite side, yeah.
You know the only thing that makes me nervous, and it actually terrifies me, and it's the only reason I might not pick those two? The long bye. Teams with a long bye were 0-4 last year. So I'm like, I got to factor that into this. But we'll just do it live on air. You remember we did it last year, and I picked Notre Dame, Ohio State?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe I got it right. I was like, holy crap, those were the 2 teams in the national title game. But anyways, you come back to Tech. All right, they were ready to spend money. They evaluated appropriately and effectively and efficiently, and they had a plan, and they moved swiftly, and as a result, they were getting the guys they wanted. You just watched, and maybe Matt Campbell will surpass anything James Franklin ever did at Penn State. It's going to be hard to do. Also, he may not be born on third base, but he's born on second with a gigantic lead towards third. Like, James Franklin went there when Penn State was not a desirable job. Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
And he built them up into what they are now. Also, the roster next year, not great for Penn State right now. Now, we'll see what they do in the transfer portal and what freshmen emerge, and because there's always young players who emerge and surprise you. But they didn't have a plan. And right now, it does not. They got a good football coach. They got a guy who can do really good things for them, but I don't think they got an upgrade. And they destroyed their high school recruiting class and basically tanked the entire rest of their season in order to make maybe a lateral move. And maybe Matt Campbell is better. We'll see. All we can judge is what we see right now. He looks like a lateral move, which isn't disrespectful because I think highly of James Franklin, but you don't go through all that and spend all that money and pay James Franklin $50 million plus to steal all your recruits to make a lateral move is what I'm saying. They didn't have a plan. Tech had a plan. They had money. They moved swiftly. They evaluated correctly, and they got good results. To me, that's what I took from that. That's how you build a college football playoff team and a program that can compete to be in the college football playoff way more often than not. What are your thoughts on that, Jake?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's an incredible job done by Texas Tech and the staff, and obviously with those resources, it can help. But as somebody kind of points off here at the text line, John in Southeast Lincoln says, I would say that Indiana did a better job evaluating talent without spending a lot of money. But these are really these are the examples, and that's why they are where they are, two of the top 4 seeds in the college football playoff. It's one thing to throw money around. It's another thing to hit at a high rate as far as evaluating. Their edge rusher, Bailey, I mean the linebacker they got from Rodriguez, these are top players at their positions. Weren't necessarily that last year, they are now. So yep. I mean, it's development and the ability to be able to see that in scouting.
If you watch the pregame college football or college game day, Rodriguez was a high school quarterback. He was a quarterback, and then he hit the crossbar, $250,000 donated to charity. If you didn't see that, Pat McAfee was going crazy on game day, appropriately so. He has spent way more days, and there was a point in time when I could say this too, so I can relate. He spent way more days as a quarterback than as a linebacker. But you bring him in, and all of a sudden, boom, you develop him, and now look at him. Deep into the Heisman conversation this year, and rightfully so. His stats, if you compare them to Manti Te'o, now you got the whole catfishing, which hadn't emerged yet, so there was a sentimental story behind Manti, which obviously propelled him, and then things come out later. But you compare his stats, because Manti was a finalist in New York. That's why I'm pointing this out. Jacobs are better, and they're noticeably better. It's not disrespectful to Manti. It's a heck of a compliment to a guy who was mostly known as a quarterback until about a year ago. The point about Indiana is phenomenal, because they did it with a bunch of 3 stars and James Madison transfers. By the way, James Madison's still in the college football playoff despite losing those transfers. That is about evaluating insanely correctly and developing on a whole nother planet successfully. And then obviously coaching during the season, making adjustments throughout the season, in-game management. I hesitate to use Indiana because it's such an outlier. I mean, it's like, okay, I'm going to use Michael Jordan as an example for everything for you 4th grade basketball players. Like it's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the greatest example I could ever think of may not be the best example to give to everybody. And that's kind of how I look at Indiana, the ultimate outlier I've ever seen in my entire freaking life. I admire it. I would study it if I'm Matt Rule. I just don't know that I want to use it every time because it's hard to replicate that, which is why it's never been done before to the way that it's been done the past couple of years under Kurt Cignetti. Real quick, before we go to break, and then when we come back, we're going to chat about Nebraska's next defensive line coach potentially and who it might be and things we may or may not believe about it. All right, but real quick, before we go to break, the Adam Carriker Show brought to you by our good friends at Hamilton Telecommunications, bringing you the latest in quality technology and communication services since 1901. Learn more about their residential and business services at hamiltontel.com. Again, that's hamiltontel.com.
Make Hog Wild the centerpiece of your holiday meal. Pre-order a 4-pound boneless ham for $50, a 12-pound whole smoked turkey, or a 4-pound turkey breast for $55. A complete meal includes your choice of a whole turkey or turkey breast, mashed potatoes and gravy, stuffing, green beans or corn, and a dozen rolls for $130. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com soon. Quantities are limited. All weights are approximate before cooking. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, the #1 fastest growing GMC dealer in the Omaha and Lincoln area. We are going to keep this train rolling in a big way with new half-ton and 4x4 pickup trucks starting at $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You heard that right, $12,500 off list price or 0% financing. You pick which one works better for you. Please stop on in the dealership and meet the team or check us out at coppellcars.com. Stock number C280930. All deals with approved credit.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Your Christmas list changes a lot as you get older. Dreams of video games, remote-controlled cars, and baseball gloves turn into dreams of shoes. You know, practical things. Brown's Shoe Fit is the king of shoes in Lincoln, with brands like Sorel, UGG, Brooks, Hoka, and more to make you fashionable and comfortable. Grab a new Ridge wallet or buy 3 get 1 free on Smart Wool socks for the ultimate stocking stuffer. And don't forget a reliable gift card for that hard-to-buy-for person in your life. Brown's Shoe Fit at 66th and Q in Lincoln.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical. Every home is different. Every family is different. So when it's time for a new heating and cooling system, why not get what fits you best? Get the perfect fit with Bryant. Maybe you need higher efficiency, better humidity control, increased warranty, or all the bells and whistles. Bryant provides options. Options in warranty, features, comfort, and efficiency while maximizing savings. Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing, 467-1111, or visit BryantLincoln.com. Bryant, whatever it takes.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion for happier, healthier, furry friends. Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
It's the holiday season. Time for work parties, friend get-togethers, and family gatherings, which means lots of eating. Maybe you think you've perfected your holiday meals, and maybe you have no idea where to even start. Let's fix that right now. No holiday party is complete without Führer's cheese spread. It goes well with any type of cracker, pretzels, apples, chili, vegetable chips, and of course, it's perfect to pair with wine or beer. Holiday meals aren't complete until Führer's cheese spread is on the table. Find your own container at your nearest local grocery store today.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the final segment of the Adam Carriker Show. It's the noon hour. You know what that means. It is lunchtime. The lunch hour of the Adam Carriker Show is sponsored by our good friend at Mulberry Barbecue, now with 2 locations, numero dos locaciones. That's my Espanol there for you, Jake. At 11th at Cornhusker and at 61st and Apples Way, right off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. Me llamo Adam. ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, ¿y tú? That's like day 1 Spanish that I've never forgotten, but I can't go to day 2 or remember anything from day 2. Can you?
Are you sure locaciones is the Spanish word for location?
Yes.
It is, okay.
It's fact.
No.
Don't look it up. Don't. I said don't look it up. All right. Back to Mulberry Barbecue. Their 2 locaciones are open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Try their burn-in sandwich, a brisket burrito, barbecue nachos, a full slab of ribs, half-smoked chicken, and much, much more. Plus, get incredible sides Or get fueled for lunch today and make dinner plans at Mulberry Barbecue, located at 11th and Cornhusker and 61st and Apples Way, just off of Highway 2 by Lowe's. All right, so all the reports and all signs lean to Elijah Robinson kind of being there's a bidding war, LSU, Penn State, Nebraska. He seems to be the number one draft pick, so to speak, by a lot of these schools. Now, I will say this. Vince Karras was in Lincoln. But last weekend, when it was reported that he was in Lincoln, actually Rob Orich was in Lincoln. And it's hard to get the timing of all these things right because sometimes there's a delay. So someone tells you what they know and they think it's current, but, maybe it's not exactly up to speed and things move so quickly in today's day and age of college football. No, Rob Orich was actually sitting at youth basketball games with Matt Rule being interviewed while Matt Rule watched his daughters play youth basketball because, he wanted to kind of see him out in the wild, so to speak, out in the elements. And you want to be out in the elements. Get around some of the youth sports parents out there. Woo-wee. I can't give you a better job interview than that. Not my parents. They're awesome. I'm talking about other teams' parents, to be clear. You kind of gave me a sideways look. Actually, they are awesome. They're pretty awesome. I have a tendency of eliminating not awesome folks. So it's interesting because when you come back to the defensive line coach, I can't help but I guarantee Matt Rule's like, all right, well, obviously there's a guy we want. But I wonder who else he's been chatting with, who else he's been talking to. And he has made it clear because one of the things with Terry Braden was like, all right, was it a little fair? Was it a little unfair? As far as him being let go or not, it doesn't matter now because he's gone. It's official. But when you think about it, you think about something Matt Rule said at his press conference, he tends to say a lot. And then there's usually like one sentence that'll just stick out to me. Like, I think there it is. Like with John Butler. Well, don't tell me the players aren't good enough. Oh, I think everything that was said was great, but there it is. I think there's the real nugget we need to take. I think one of the things he said at the most recent press conference when he announced Terry Braden wasn't coming back, it was at a separate part in the press conference. But if you think about it and you rewatch the press conference and you're paying attention or trying to pay attention like me, our assistant coach has got to be able to recruit. Well, Terry Braden had 0 high school recruits in our most recent recruiting class and didn't seem to be winning a lot of those recruiting battles. In fact, since he's been let go, what's your news? You got two pieces of news real quick. We got a defensive lineman, which is odd after the defensive line coach is gone. Plus, we may have a new edge coach. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely interesting in a few different regards there. Nebraska did pick up, like you're saying, a defensive line commit last night without a defensive line coach in place. So his name is Jaden Travers, a 3-star defensive lineman from Baltimore. Picked Nebraska over Michigan and Miami. 6'3", 260-pound, 3-star. But again, Michigan and Miami won him, so probably a high-end 3-star there. And then the other news that's just coming up, in Football Scoop reported within the last hour or so, is that Nebraska is going after San Diego State edge coach Roy Manning. Of course, Rob Orich coached at San Diego State, so maybe one of his guys, Roy Manning, might come over. Edge coach there. Does that mean D-line coach here? Does that mean, Phil Simpson, outside linebacker? There's a lot to still be seen with that picture, but it looks like they're targeting Roy Manning, one of Orich's guys, to come to Nebraska.
So one thing Rule did say is Orich, it's important to him about that 4-man front, that defensive line, and the individual in charge of it. He's helped coach edge guys in the past. In fact, San Diego State 2 years ago, that's what he was the edge coach. Then he went to the defensive coordinator. He was there for a year, obviously upgraded San Diego State's defense quite a bit. Don't take shots at 3-stars. I was highly coveted.
I didn't take any 3 shots.
I know, but it's better if I act like you did.
Okay.
So don't take shots at 3-stars, Jake, because I was highly coveted by Oregon State, Washington State, the mighty Pac-2. I could have been the Pac-2 player of the year, man, had I gone to one of those schools. All right. So I've honestly talked to folks. I've done as much of a dive as I can. I guarantee there's other people that Rule's spoken with that he's talked to in case this doesn't work out. There's more than one good candidate in planet Earth. This is obviously the guy that everyone's talking about. But, I mean, you go back to Scott Frost, like he was the guy. Well, he wasn't clearly the guy, even though we thought he was, because there's other good candidates. We're still ironing out a few things as far as who the guys are that are going to coach this team to the level we want to be at. I only bring up Scott to say, because everyone was so convinced, including myself, he's the guy. Well, you never know who the guy is because it's possible that there are the guys. There's more than one good option out there. If we get Robinson, it'd be phenomenal. But I'm kind of curious to see who else, or I'd be curious to know who else Matt Rule's spoken to, what else is going on, because I guarantee there's more than just one good option out there. You got to be able to recruit. You got to be able to land good players, player acquisition, talent acquisition. You got to be able to develop. You got to be able to evaluate. You got to be able to coach, and you got to be able to build mental toughness. I want a mentally tough team, Jake. How's that sound to you?
Sounds good to me.
When Jake talks like that, it means we're over time. And that's when I start to talk slower, and we better get out of here because Jake's going to lose his mind. All right, don't go anywhere. Back in the black shirt after this. Go, Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bones.
Hey, honey, can you help me out with some holiday wrapping?
On it. I'm rocking ugly sweaters like a runway king. Jingle